All right, Texas, your time is up. Your time is limited, Texas. Why? Because people are figuring out that between Florida and Texas, they're losing now. You know, we're not going to just keep running to Texas and you have nothing to offer. Now, if it was over the last decade, no income tax, booming cities and affordable land, yes, we're running to Texas. Like, that was what it was, you know? But if I told you there's another state rising in the shadows, or states rising in the shadows, one that's drawing in retirees, remote workers, and freedom seekers, all without the noise. There's a person that said this quote, and I feel like it's the best quote I've ever heard because it's actually 100% true. If there are cranes in the sky in a city, if you already see the developments going on in these towns and these suburbs and these whatever, you are already too late. Do you know who said that? Grant Cardone said that. I said it in one of my other videos, then I had to look it up. Like, who said that? That was the realest quote, because you're already too late. And as smart movers, we try to get in there to get the best value before the hoopla, before the hype, before the crowds come running in, because then you get to set yourself up for success and take advantage of that later on. If you move in when it's already boomtown, like Austin, Dallas, and all of these places, 18 years ago, that's where Dallas was. That's where you should have moved into Dallas 18 years ago. Now, we missed the boat. We could say that. We missed the boat on all these great places. It's just too overpriced, overvalued right now, and we're not seeing where it makes fiscal sense, where it makes any sense at all. So, you know, they made the headlines over a decade ago. Today, we're breaking down the next Texas, the next Florida, right? The next Austin. Smart movers are quietly heading before these places explode. And that's what we need to focus on. The reason I got the sunnies on today, because, man, I was just outside. It's a beautiful day, and I took it inside, and I said, yo, I'm about to look cool as hell with my sunnies on. But guess what? It doesn't look cool as hell. It doesn't. I don't know why I got it on. Okay, so because I started it, I'm going to finish it with the things on. All right. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and sign up to the Smart Movers Club. How to sign up to the Smart Movers Club. That's the best thing that you could be in, because we go over details. Every week I send this email out. It's a newsletter, and we dissect these places. We give you a city of the week, actually, a town of the week, you know, a place that you need, a county, a place that you need to look into in case you're looking to move now or in the future. And you're a smart mover, which means you want less tax burden, you want a better lifestyle and quality, you want to save money, you want to be able to invest in the future, you want to think like an entrepreneur when you're moving places, you want to make strategic moves. The Smart Mover Club is for you. So why people are leaving Texas, and just in this range, let's do Texas and Florida, okay? Why people are leaving these places by the droves. Texas was a good move for many. And again, I'm always going to say, if you're coming in from Connecticut, if you're coming in from Massachusetts, New Jersey, California, even Washington State, it's a great move, right? Because with those places, you're actually going to find some value in Texas. But while everyone's looking west, smart movers are quietly headed east and southeast, okay? The new Texas has no or low income tax, affordable housing, still under $275K in many areas, right? $275K, that's like, you don't even find, where is that? Where is that right now? You can't say that in Florida. Some place you just can't say it unless you're out in the boonies or some town that you don't want to be in. Okay, that you can't find these places. So we're talking about under 275. You know, the national median in 2024 for home prices is upwards of $427,000. So it's well below the national median of home prices. So you got business-friendly policies in some of these places. You got growing infrastructure without the big city headaches. And big city headaches coming in on that is Dallas. Okay, try to drive down in Miami as well. Like, go ahead. Make that your commute every day. You're pissed off. There's not enough NPR and smooth jazz and, classical music that'll get your mind off of the traffic that you're going to be in. There's not enough. There's not enough of that. Audiobooks, you're done. You're mad at the audiobook too in the traffic, okay? So migration is up over 20% in just the last 3 years in these areas, okay? So who's moving to these places and why? Let's get into it. Remote tech workers is ditching the $4,000 rents. There's a place in Colorado, Denver, a friend of mine, the condo flooded or whatever, fire, whatever the hell. The insurance company made sure they lived somewhere else, small young family. So they moved into a place by the stadium, right? And I was like, man, this place must be tight. You keep talking about it. I looked it up on Zillow. Beautiful house, right? The actual rent for that place was $5,500 a month. God damn. Just so you could walk to the stadium and see the Broncos. I don't know, is the Broncos? Who else? The Nuggets? I don't know. But no, we're not doing that. Retirees that want to stretch their pension, they're looking into these states also. They're looking into those other states, not Texas, not Florida, okay? Families cashing out on overpriced metros and buying twice the space for half the price. My rent is up there, okay? It's up there. However, in Memphis, in Tennessee, in Cordova, in all these places, I could get a McMansion for the price that I'm paying here in Maryland. Why? Why is that? You want more space? What are you willing to give up? You could really live a good life in other places. Plus, all of those places, I don't know what it is with Memphis and all these places. They must love taking baths. Jacuzzi tubs in all of them. Standard jacuzzi tub. I'm like, damn, I never had this type of quality before, but let's keep it moving. They're not just moving for the money. They want the freedom. They want the peace and the future-proof their lives. They want to future-proof their lives. There's going to be the market. If you look at the historical data on the market, like every 9 to 10 years, this thing goes into a bear market, right? That means the price, everything declines, right? Then you got the bull market. And every other, like 20 years or whatever, there's a huge crash. So there's historical waves that happen. They call the cycles of the market, the cycles of life, just like the 4 seasons. We come back around, it's perennial. So things happen. When the next big thing happens, and I don't even think we're in the big thing right now, it's happening. The next big thing happens. Are you ready to future-proof yourself? So I think that's very important. So in like Tennessee, for example, and we could kind of like do Tennessee, Arkansas, these are great states, Alabama, great states, right? You're talking about home prices are $100K to $150K less than Texas metro areas, the major metro areas where everyone's flooding to. Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin. These are the places people want to be if you're in the state, right? Or the suburbs around them. You're talking about property taxes. They're often 30 to 50% lower than Texas. Let's talk about Tennessee. Let's talk about Alabama. Let's even talk about Mississippi when it comes to that, okay? These are the actual changes. Wyoming too, all right? So utility, insurance, and healthcare costs way below the national average in many areas. Your money lasts longer, your lifestyle expands, and you're not stuck in an urban gridlock, okay? Urban gridlock. So when we help people relocate, we ask, are you taxed on your income, your spending or your retirement? Okay? Can you get a decent home under 3 times your annual income? That's the most important. 3 times your annual income. Is the state growing in jobs and infrastructure, or is it stuck in the past? Now, they were supposed to build a huge like bullet train, right? I think through Dallas or something. I think that funding stopped. I think that's dried up. I don't know what's going on with that. Like they promised these things and it's just not feasible, or it's too much money, or the funding lapsed, or whatever the hell's going on, or new person comes into play and then they don't agree with whatever the case may be. The next Texas hits these sweet spots right now, but it won't stay quiet for long, guys. It just is what it is. So let me get into some data here. Let's get into some data, and then we can give you that for a piece of the cake, right? I only want these videos to be 15 minutes. Guys, while I'm getting the data, go over to StrizzyReport.com. Sign up for the newsletter. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Why? Because every week, there's not a bombardment of emails coming to your thing every day, right? It's every week, concise data, what's happening in these states. And I'm getting so surgical with it that we're talking about market shifts, small data market shifts in real estate and jobs and education, like all of it before it hits the masses. Because the best thing that a smart mover could do is be one of the early adopters in a place like no one thought Austin was going to be Austin 20 years ago. No one thought even Dallas was going to be Dallas 20 years ago. You had to have been Tremel Crow. Is that the boy's name? To know about Dallas, to know about what was this. And he was rocking it off in the 80s. Like, are you kidding me? You know? In the 80s, his company had constructed 225 million square feet of warehouse space. Come on, man. This is Tremel Crow. Like, you had to be one of these guys to know about what was going to happen in Texas. All right. So let's go. All right. So let's go here. Give you some of these states here. All right. So Arkansas. All right. Let's get with it. Arkansas, no tax on Social Security. Median home price right now, $190K. The major growth in what we're seeing and what we love is in Bentonville and Fayetteville. Okay, low property tax, freedom-minded politics, Arkansas. And there was a thing, I want to read it. I want to get back. There was a thing that I read about, must have been like 5 years ago. I got to find that source. But geographically, they're saying, okay, if shit hits the fan, you know what I'm talking about. Wars on homeland, nuclear disasters, whatever the hell. They're saying as far as the best state for protection and just kind of like you're out of the way from the coast and like whatever was Arkansas. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out who wrote it. It was some naval strategist or whatever. He was in the Navy forever, and he proclaimed that Arkansas had it. Like, if you needed to buy land, buy it in Arkansas for your bunker or whatever. But I'll find that. That's not for this video. That's for the next video. The next state is Tennessee. You're talking about the new Texas. Tennessee, no income tax. Booming cities like Chattanooga and Knoxville. And I just put it out in my last newsletter that one's coming up was Clarksville as a really undercut. You're going to be an early adopter in Clarksville. They have the jobs. They're getting the infrastructure. They're booming. The prices are lower than Memphis. So this is what I'm talking about, why you need the Smart Movers Club newsletter. Check that out. But let's go. Business friendly and central location. So when you want to still be able to move and get flexible, the airport, I ain't going to lie. Actually, Nashville, BNA, very good. Memphis is a little bit behind time. They updated a piece of their airport. However, there's no hub for an airline in Memphis. The hub, I think, was Delta, and I think they moved or whatever the hell back in the day, or American, one of them. But there's no hub. But you got Nashville, great airport, move-in traffic. Both airports are international. Okay, check this out again. Lower property tax prices than Nashville or Austin. Okay? Lower property prices if you move around Chattanooga, Knoxville, Clarksville, what we're talking about here. Lower property price, you can find it than Nashville and Austin. Okay, guys? South Dakota is coming in. Why is South Dakota coming in? I haven't done that state yet in my state review. That's probably going to be done today, but zero income tax, super low property tax, one of the strongest pro-business climates in the U.S. Entrepreneur, get your LLC, get your S Corp, whatever you want. You want to be in a state that promotes business, that encourages business, that has policies for business that are friendly, okay? If you are business minded, okay? Rapid City, Sioux Falls, quietly becoming entrepreneur havens, okay? So when I do the state review, lock that in so you can see it. So before you go, ask, can I take my job or business with me, right? Can I own instead of rent without over leveraging? I just did a video. Mans was 72 years old, just got fired from his job, was making $10K a month with his job. He gets Social Security and he has another pension, and that brings in about $6K a month. He was making $10K with this job plus his thing. Got fired from the job, just bought a house 2 years ago. Holy shit, he's terrified over there. Guess where he's at? Northern California. Don't want to leave. Okay, 72 years old. Come on, man. All right? He could be moving to Tennessee and living great just off of his retirement and Social Security. That's 90. He was bringing in 90K a year just off of those things. So he goes in a place like Arkansas, Tennessee. It ain't Northern Cali, but it also doesn't have Northern Cali worries and stress. Okay? There we go. All right. Will your money go further? Just look cheaper, or just look cheaper. The new Texas isn't a place, man. It isn't a place. It's a strategy. It's a strategy, man. Okay, so if you want to move smarter, not just trend follow, not just TikTok follow, join the Smart Movers Club. Every week I break down hidden gem states, tax strategies, cost of living breakdowns, and relocation game plans. I have this thing out right now. It's a 12-month relocation ebook. It's a fat ebook. It's a good read. But that's if you are looking to relocate within 12 months and you need to know where to start, how to start, build a strategy behind it and get the tools that you need and resources. You could come check that out. Okay, this is what we do on the Smart Movers Club. So I love you guys. I hope this video was helpful to you in case you're thinking about moving. But Texas and Florida is not the same game. It's not the same game. It just isn't. All right, we got to be honest with that. Where are the places now that are booming, that are going to be the next Austin, the next Texas revolution, the next freedom state that we can look into? And we make the place what it is, right? The individuals, the population, the people makes the place. Okay, it's just all good. We say Texas, but the people makes the place, honestly. So let's go. If you, Trammell Crow, this guy was really good. I like Trammell Crow, okay? And his family, there's still some stuff down in Dallas with his name on buildings and stuff. So it was good to see when I was down there. But you got to read this too if you want to know about how to, this is a real estate more developer book. However, if you want to know, if you see the cranes, right, baby, if you see the work, the development happening, if you see the dirt is dug already, you are already too late. Let's get early, smart movers. I'll catch you later. Peace.